OINK. OINK, I say. And another OINK. Yes, that's OINK as in pigs. My name is Howard RIELL. The show is called Real Truth. Welcome. We're talking about pigs today. No, not the kind you find in a store, pig's knuckles or stuff like that. I'm a Jew. I don't eat that stuff. But I recognize a pig when I see it. And Congress is full of pigs. Item from CAGW.org. The Congressional Pig Book is CAGW's annual compilation of the pork barrel projects in the federal budget. A pork project is a line item in an appropriations bill that designates tax dollars for a specific purpose in circumvention of established budgetary procedures. To qualify as pork, a project must meet one of 7 criteria developed in 1991 by CAGW and the Congressional Pork Busters Coalition. For a second year in a row, members of Congress have set records for the cost and number of earmarks during the supposed earmark moratorium. Citizens Against Government Waste, that's CAGW, 2019 Congressional Pig Book exposes 282 earmarks, an increase of 21.6% from the 232 in fiscal year 2018. The cost of earmarks in fiscal year 2019 is $15.3 billion, an increase of 4.1% over 2018. Since 1991, CAGW has identified 111,144 earmarks, costing $359.8 billion. Now, folks, before I go into the details of this 27th installment, I'm asking a question. Congress, we have a do-nothing, worth-nothing Congress. They can't find $21, $22, $23 billion to secure our country, but they can waste $360 billion on crap just to get themselves reelected. Now, I know there is no law on the books that would put a politician who's spending this money in jail. But I also know there damn well should be. And I'm hoping some enterprising fellow or woman in the Beltway will put forth such a law. I don't think Congress is going to vote for it, but it must be done anyway. And since we finally got a president with some moxie and who's honest and not a career whore flack politician, maybe he can find a way to get such a law pushed through. Pork barrel is breaking our bank. It's wasting taxpayer money. How many people had to work to earn $360 billion that was just handed away on crap? All right, let's get through this. The 27th installment of CAGW's expose of pork barrel spending includes $1.8 billion for 16 extra F-35 Joint Strike Fighter aircraft, which has been plagued with cost overruns, delays, and poor performance. It includes $960 million for the Littoral combat ship, which is ridden with excessive costs and an ill-defined mission. It includes $16.7 million for the East-West Center, added by Senate Appropriations Committee member Brian Schatz, Democrat Hawaii, even though there was no budget request. It includes $13 million for Save America's Treasures grants, which in the past have funded the restoration and operation of local museums, opera houses, and theaters. Whatever happened to the private marketplace? And it includes $9 million for a fruit fly quarantine program and $863,000 to help eliminate the brown tree snake. Folks, I've gotten calls from brown tree snakes who are virulently against that expenditure. Listen, there are many things helping to destroy America. The worst of them is Congress. Congress itself. Congress has always been slimy and sleazy. They've always wasted money. We just can't afford it anymore. We need a Congress that can and will take action, effective action on behalf of the United States, and we just don't have it. I'm relatively confident that the Senate can put things in order, but the House went back to the Democrats in the last midterm elections, and they're not lifting a finger, although they are spending money like drunken sailors, and I don't mean to insult sailors. So get on the horn to your United States senators and Congress members and say, hey, cut the crap and cut the budget and stop with the pork barrel spending. And instead of sitting on your backsides with your arms crossed, talking about impeachment and Russian collusion, how about doing something to make America great again? Wouldn't that be something? Item from APnews.com, Dateline, Portland, Maine. Undaunted by a journey over thousands of miles, people fleeing economic privation and human rights abuses in African countries are coming to the United States in unprecedented numbers. Border agents and officials in Texas and even in Maine are scrambling to absorb them. Mexico, on the overland route to America, is on pace to tripling the number of African immigrants it's processing this year, up from 2,100 in 2017. In one recent week, U.S. Border Patrol agents stopped more than 500 African migrants in Texas. They were from the Republic of the Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Angola. What's that, you say, my friends? Yes, you're absolutely right. It's the Congo and the Congolese countries that are having virulent outbreaks of Ebola. Now, I know there are liberals out there screaming racist, but you can shove that. So it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with bringing diseases here in incredible numbers. And by the way, I was reading earlier today that border agents dealing with these people are themselves coming down with these far-flung diseases. It's disgusting and it's unnecessary, and we need to stop it. It's Monday, and I'm Howard Real. We'll be right back.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who is honest and has integrity, a realtor who is focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line, who provides personable, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
You can buy gold just about anywhere in the world from all kinds of different deals. So why do you use the Patriot Trading Group? 20 years of service, just like that. 8+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, just like that. Lowest price, just like that. No solicitation, just like that. Buying or selling, just like that. For all your gold and silver needs, call the Patriot Trading Group at 800-951-0592, just like that.
Square Root Construction is pleased to help support the American Freedom Network by offering a high-quality custom construction services. Established in 1990, Square Root Construction is high-quality decks and other types of outdoor living projects all along the northern front. We are licensed, insured, and have all the experience, knowledge, and skills to help you create the outdoor living oasis of your dreams. For your free consultation and no obligation quote, give Doug a call at 303-517-8742 or visit us on the web at squarerootconstruction.com.
Okay, brand new week, brand new fiascos to report on. I am Howard Real. This is Real Truth. Let me go through it with you. Real Truth, Stay Angry, my book, available online. Go to virtualbookworm.com. Get yourself a copy. You will love it. Go to my Facebook page, Real Truth Radio. What else? If you want to read some movie reviews I've done, Go to movieagendas.com. You will find lots of them. And if you want to go to howardreal.com and bring me in as a speaker at one of your events, I would be more than happy to talk to you. Now, let's get down to business. Judge Jeanine Pirro on Fox. This is in contradistinction to what I said about Congress before. Congress is filled with a bunch of elite millionaire and billionaire hack politician whores. And you never know what they're doing or thinking because transparency is the last thing they ever want. Fortunately, we have a president who may well be the most transparent, have the most transparent administration in this nation's history, which is a tremendous blessing. Here's Judge Jeanine Pirro on Fox talking about it.
This one forced outrage by the Democrats against
Yeah, we're going to skip right over the crap and the lies. Let's get back to the judge. Now, this is, my friends, this is the nose-picking Adam Schiff. A real piece of dirt, if ever there was one. He's slamming President Trump because he said he would accept information from foreign sources. But this is the nose-picking Schiff accepting information from a foreign source. Talk about hypocrisy. Talk about lying. My friends, I keep coming back to psychoanalysis of Democrat voters. This is another in a long, long line of examples of hypocrisy by the Democrats. The fact that the things they charge the president with are in reality nothing except what they themselves have already done. And Democrat voters apparently keep voting Democrat. I just don't get it. I won't get it. I refuse to get it. And we need to get rid of the Democrat Party or they're going to sink us. Item from the Jewish Voice. No one knows Mayor Bill de Blasio and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand better than their fellow New Yorkers, and their fellow New Yorkers aren't supporting their presidential bids. The Democratic debates are coming, and both candidates find themselves embarrassingly without support at home. The big money from Wall Street that each was undoubtedly counting on is flowing, all right, to other candidates. Both have trailed party frontrunners in support from major donors in New York, according to the New York Times. Banking dollars are going to former Vice President Joe Biden, California Senator Kamala Harris, and Mayor Pete Buttigieg of South Bend, Indiana. My friends, you've got to be a loser with a capital L to run for office and not get support at home, not get support in your home state. Well, two losers, Bill de Blasio and Kirsten Gillibrand. They want to be president. No, I don't know if they take drugs or drink heavily. I have no idea. But it sure seems like it. If either of them thinks that they are actually going to be president, or is it just that they want to get the government funds that come along with running for the presidency, matching campaign funds? Because at a certain point, if you drop out of the race, you get to keep that money, which boggles my mind and always has. So this might just be a monetary move on the part of both of them. Gillibrand is a dummy, and Bill de Blasio is an ass clown. Even people in his own administration don't take him seriously. Item from the Washington Examiner. Dateline, Eagle Pass, Texas. Border Patrol agents in Texas are somewhat concerned about being exposed to Ebola by a migrant fleeing the Democratic Republic of the Congo for the United States. But more agents are worried about other illnesses frequently popping up among detainees at stations across the southern border, according to union representatives. Excuse me. Border Patrol's holding facilities in the Del Rio and El Paso sectors or regions are inundated with sick detainees as well as sick agents. So, folks, if you live in one of the toilets around the world, you come to America, you get free medical care. Who knows, maybe you'll infect a border agent or the American citizens. Either way, you've got to be out of your mind to be accepting people from the third world who may or may not have the most dreadful diseases on the planet. And then to spend billions of dollars to do so is like a certifying exam. The distinguishing characteristic of Africa is that it is home to just about every disease known to man, and probably a bunch that we don't know about. So as our government said, we're not taking anybody from Africa? No, that would be political poison, wouldn't it? And so more diseases are coming here. Who knows? Maybe you or your children will be infected by something. Wouldn't it be happy if you were a Democrat, you want people coming here, you don't want any borders, let them all come in, and then what's that, doctor? You said my child has Ebola? Wouldn't you feel like a fool? Well, for a very good reason. Because you would be a fool. Item from WTVD Dateline, Mebane, North Carolina. A 19-year-old man accused of entering a home in Mebane on Friday before being thwarted by an 11-year-old with a machete walked out of UNC Hospital on Saturday morning and is on the loose, according to Orange County Sheriff Charles Blackwood, unquote. My friends, I tip my hat. There you go. If you're watching on video, you could actually see my hat being tipped. To the parents of this 11-year-old who had the guts and the smarts and the inner toughness to swing a machete at some guy who broke into his home. I'm not sure I would have been able to do that at age 11. So I give this kid lots of credit. And he points the way to us. Instead of turning criminals into victims and victims into criminals, we should start turning criminals into corpses. Item from the Sun.co over in the UK. A mum and her lesbian lover tore off her 9-year-old son's penis before beheading him because he reminded her of her dad. Mum Rosanna Candido, 27, and Casila Pessoa, 28, of Brazil, stabbed the boy over a dozen times and removed all the skin from his face before butchering his body. Now, folks, I don't want you to say anything negative about lesbians. All right? I won't hear of it on this show. They're just like you and me. Item from Breitbart. Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican, Louisiana, and other Senate Republicans proposed on Sunday to block leftist states from forcing Americans to subsidize programs that expand benefits to illegal immigrants. Folks, last time I looked, the United States was about $22 trillion in the red. You really think we have enough money to spend on illegal immigrants? I don't either. We'll be back with more Real Truth.
And 1975. If so, you may have aluminum wiring can be handled. These homes are around 50 years old now. Using more electrical power than ever imagined back in the day. Aluminum wire does not get better.
And speaking of the national debt, which I just was in the previous segment, $22 trillion and growing, by the way. Anybody care if we get rid of the national debt, if we pay it down? A lot of people complain about it. A lot of people use it for political ends, but I don't see an awful lot of people really expecting to pay it down. Well, here's a report from my friends at PragerU, Prager University, PragerU.com, on the national debt and the question, who cares? Let's listen.
In the 1958 movie The Blob, starring a young Steve McQueen, a giant expanding mass, a blob, threatens to destroy an entire town and everyone in it. It keeps growing and growing and no one can stop it. The United States debt is like that blob. Unlike the fictional blob, it threatens to destroy more than an entire town, it threatens the entire nation. Where is Steve McQueen when you need him? Here are some numbers. The national debt currently stands at $22 trillion. That's trillion with a T. 10 years ago, it was $10 trillion. 10 years from now, it's projected to be $34 trillion. The interest payment on our debt is currently $300 billion per year, heading towards a projected $1 trillion within a decade. At that point, a fifth of all federal taxes will go towards the interest on the debt. Not education, infrastructure, and defense. You know, the stuff government is supposed to do. And that's with historically low interest rates. Imagine if those rates normalized. Well, maybe you don't want to imagine it, because that picture is very dark. In a better world, voters would be marching on Washington demanding that our politicians dig us out of this hole before we're buried in it. In the real world, almost no one cares. But we should care. And any thinking person, left or right, understands why. No individual and no nation can accumulate debt indefinitely. Europe was able to bail out Greece with some loans a few years ago. But Greece is a small country. If the US goes boom, there's going to be no one to bail us out. So what's driving the debt? And more importantly, how do we drive ourselves out of it? The debt has been growing for decades. It got supercharged by the 2008 recession. Revenues fell while spending soared. Under President Obama, the debt doubled from $10 trillion to $20 trillion. In the first 2 years of the Trump administration, we've added another $2 trillion. So,
excuse me, let's back up a little bit. Under Barack Obama, the debt doubled from 10 trillion to 20 trillion. Now, you know, because you've been listening to the show a long time. If you haven't, shame. You know, I've been saying for a long time, that Barack Obama did a great job as president. And, you know, people say to me, Real, what are you talking about? Are you crazy? And my answer is, he did a great job, but you need to know what his job was. His job was to cripple and weaken this country. And there is no better evidence of that than the fact that he doubled our national debt from 10 to 20 trillion dollars, hobbling this country perhaps permanently. So yeah, maybe Barack Obama was not a terrorist with a shrapnel vest, but he was a terrorist with a pen. And he laid waste to this country's budget like no one else has. Let's go back to the video.
but what are we to do? First, we need to identify the primary sources of power. It's pretty basic. Talk about defense spending, welfare spending, that's very important. But really two things going forward. Social Security and Medicare. Unless we get a handle on this nonsense, the debt now will continue to expand until it overwhelms it. According to data from the Congressional Budget Office, national programs alone facing $100 trillion shortfall over the next 3 decades.
I got a great idea. Why don't we give people free health care? And why don't we give people free education? And why don't we let as many millions of people as want to come into our country, and let's give them welfare and free everything? I mean, doesn't that make sense? It must. The Democrats want it.
The $100 trillion hole is too big.
Wrong. Wrong. Those programs have been mismanaged for decades. The funds have been stolen and used elsewhere by politicians. And as someone, as a baby boomer who's going to be entering retirement age soon, I'm never going to retire, but I'm getting up there, right? July 1st, I'll be 61. Why is it fair for me to receive less than other people who came before me who paid in either the same or even less? Why do I have to pay? Why do I have to suffer because politicians for years couldn't keep their greasy fingers off the money in Medicare and Social Security? Why do I have to have my benefits cut because liberal idiots in this country want to give free everything to everybody in the world who can drag himself here? So no, with all due respect to PragerU, usually the information you get there is great. But no, it's not fair and it's not sensible. Until we have cut our budget to the bone, until we can stop spending hundreds of billions of dollars on illegals, until we can stop giving everyone who's not nailed down free everything, then no, it's not fair or sensible to have Americans who've worked hard all their lives suddenly get much less. The fact that people are getting more than they paid in is just a matter of people living longer. No one's scamming anybody. So with all due respect to PragerU.com, I will respectfully disagree. There are lots and lots and lots of places to save money. We don't have to do it on the backs of hardworking, tax-paying Americans. That would be wrong. It would be unfair, and it makes no sense. So when that wall goes up, and there are no more illegals getting into this country, scamming our system, then you may ask me about cutting Social Security and Medicare. We'll be right back.
Join us and don't miss a moment of the Alex Jones Show, your #1 source for real independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. InfoWars is pro-America, pro-family, pro-free. We are legally 1776. Exclusive reports, live comments, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show on KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado. The Patriot Trading Group is a different kind of gold and silver company. Cleaning up the industry for 21 years. Are you tired of the high-pressure sales tactics, the constant phone calls? Are you done with the bait and switch? You just want to be treated fairly with honesty and respect? That's exactly what you get when you call 800-951-0592. You got my word on it. I'm Joe Kickman, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. Check us out online at allamericangold.com.
Clearing out the window gate, lush green yard, backyard barbecue. Don't blink, or you know you'll be behind the ground. Don't let the HOA come knocking on the door. Don't be that guy. Call Turf Tamers Landscaping at 970-460-TURF or visit our website at turftamerslandscaping.com. We will make your garden exception. Specializing in maintenance and install of commercial and residential property. We pride ourselves in our clean cut and
at turfgamerslandscaping.com. Our install crew can transform your backyard into the outdoor living space of all this region. Call me, Brian, at 970-460-TURF for a free walkthrough and estimate where we can meet and discuss the best options for your landscaping needs. Family owned and locally operated, we've been serving Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support and supporting Kansas.
All right, guys, we are back. You know, I've talked about how Democrats lie, which is why CNN and MSNBC are going down the toilet, because people just don't want to be lied to anymore. Well, one of the popular lies du jour, usually coming out of the gateway to hell known as Nancy Pelosi's mouth, is that Donald Trump is a criminal. He's a criminal and a racist and a traitor. He's all the evil things in the world if you listen to and believe the Democrats. Two things you should never do. Here is Mark Levin on Fox News, I believe it was this morning, right? Or a couple of days ago, talking about Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump, and all things related. Here we go.
The case, let's bring in Mark Levin, who's the
Excuse me, Colorado, and other liberal states around the country, they didn't take over the House. They were voted into the House by singularly unintelligent voters across the country. Too stupid to comment out of the rain, and too stupid to recognize politicians who lie, supported by media that lie, pushing policies that can't work, have never worked, and won't work. So it's an army of brainless voters who gave the Democrats back control of the House. I just wanted to throw that in. Go ahead, Mark.
October 2017.
So opposition research is routinely done by every candidate. But if you are especially stupid, then you will respond like a Pavlovian dog when the Democrats say, look what Trump did, isn't he terrible? Well, I'm betting that if you listen to Real Truth, you're not stupid and you're not a Pavlovian dog. But you may be seeing the show on the internet. You may be listening on the internet. You may pick me up on your radio without intending to. And if you're a Democrat voter, I urge you to not be stupid and not be fooled by the liars like Nancy Pelosi out there spewing nothing but lies.
Your thoughts?
I'll tell you why George Stephanopoulos won't do that. Because George Stephanopoulos is a whore. He gets paid a lot of money to go out and lie his scrawny little ass off. And if it damages America and hurts Americans, he doesn't care about that. He cares about his paycheck. That's why George Stephanopoulos will never ask real questions.
I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah, the lies in the media run like a river. And it's killing CNN and MSNBC. Good riddance to both of them. They need to go bye-bye. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do 4 more minutes, and then we will go bye-bye, but not permanently.
Join us and don't miss the moment of the Alex Jones Show, your number one source for independent media. Find out what the mainstream media is about. Infowars is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are rebooting 1776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC, 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show, KHNC. The heart of the world. Anywhere from all kinds of music. Why do you use the Patriots rating for 20 years? Just like that. 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 For all your gold and cookery, all the Patriots rating at
season 5 here. All about this.
Item from Breitbart, some natural-born female Olympians are now demanding that the International Olympic Committee suspend rules allowing transgender athletes to compete as women. Oh my goodness. Are these women anti-transgender? Are they haters? Are they monsters? Are they Nazis? Are they Hitler? Yeah, they're not. They're following common sense. Of course, transgender people should not be allowed to compete against normal people, but it also points up something else. Women are yammering about women athletes about wanting equal pay, parity with men athletes, but clearly their product is much less. It's lesser product. Because when men, calling themselves transgender, come and compete against women, they demolish them. So clearly the women are not as good as the men, and so if the product isn't as good, why the hell should it get the same price tag? Item from Breitbart. Sweden will employ hundreds of new police officers in an effort to tackle a growing trend of sexual offenses against vulnerable people and children. According to the police, the prosecutor's office, and the Crime Prevention Council, the number of sexual offenses within relationships and where children are victims is increasing, with only half of the reported rape cases in Sweden seeing any kind of resolution. Folks, no madness has taken hold of the Swedish people. These sexual offenses are not being committed by the Swedish people. They're being committed by Muslims who have come to Sweden. So if Swedes have any brains in their blonde heads, they'll get the hell rid of the immigrants. I'm sorry, was I making sense again? Item from the Daily Wire. Scenes in commercials that could offend the most sensitive of Britons are now banned in Britain. The Agence France Presse reported that a ban took effect Friday that keeps, quote, harmful gender stereotypes, unquote, out of ads, including scenes depicting a woman who can't park or a man who can't change a diaper. Other potentially harmful stereotypes, such as women cleaning or men fixing things around the home, will remain, the press reported. Unquote. My friends, snowflakes. They're not just on American college campuses. They are all over Europe. These are not harmful gender stereotypes. These are harmless gender stereotypes. But they don't know a thing from free speech over in Europe. And so they're making very, very stupid decisions. Item from worldisraelnews.com. Lauren Isaacs, 23, a Toronto native, had no idea that during her vacation to Israel she would end up leaving, quote, a mark of disgrace on the forehead of 1.6 billion Muslims, unquote, to quote the Palestinian Al-Quds channel, a pro-Hamas station. Lauren, who works as a Toronto director of Cherut Canada, a pro-Zionist organization, went up to the Temple Mount on June 11th with her mother. Excited to be at Judaism's holiest site, she unfurled her Cherut Canadian flag, which resembles an Israeli flag, and her mom snapped a picture of her with the Dome of the Rock in the background. Unquote. My friends, this is a massive show of courage by young Lauren Isaacs, because up on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, the Palestinians have complete control. Their police are up there. Yes, Israel completely, stupidly, and brainlessly and self-destructively gave away control of the Temple Mount way back when, after 1967. And so the police could have arrested Lauren Isaacs, and we never would have seen her again, and there wouldn't have been anything anybody could do. So the fact that she had enough pride in her Judaism and in the existence of the state of Israel to go up and do this means I have an amazing amount of respect for this young woman and her mother. All right, done. Be back in 23 hours with more real truth. My friends, stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry.